Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to select and hire a course designer to build any golf course you'd like into GSPro golf simulation software. I just went through this process. I'm going to kind of show you start to finish how it worked for me, and hopefully it's helpful to you. The cool thing about GSPro is anybody can build a golf course in there, including yourself, but there is a long learning curve in the beginning. And even whenever you're an expert, it still takes a lot of hours to build a really nice course in there. So a lot of people like myself that don't have the time will hire somebody that knows what they're doing to build the course they want for them. Now, to start out, you may be asking, where do I even find one of these course designers? And there's a couple different places that you can look. The first place is going to be the Simulator Golf Tour Discord group. That is where I would recommend starting out. Anyone can join, even if you are not a member of the Simulator Golf Tour. You would go to thesimulatorgolftour.com and just scroll down to the very bottom and go to Get Started. And here on step 2, you can see it's optional to join the community. Just click join our group right there, and that will get you into this Discord group. And Discord is just basically like a chat room platform. Once you're inside of Discord and you've joined the Simulator Golf Tour group, you'll see down here on the left-hand side, there's all these different kind of channels, and they're all just different chat rooms. But you may just want to go into GSPro Players Room for general discussion, or like OP Course Design Room here. All of the course designers are gonna be in this Discord. Now, take it a step further. There is a Discord group that is specifically for course designers. That is called Zeros and Ones Golf Design. Right here in this group, there is a channel for licensing OPCD for play. Now, this is where a current list of all the designers that you can hire is kept. So in order for anybody to charge money to design a course within GSPro, they need to kind of be commercially licensed. And there are some requirements that they have completed, I think at least 5 courses that are open into GSPro, maybe some other requirements. But once they've done that, they end up on this list right here. There's roughly 30, 35 different people on here, and these are the people that are allowed to charge money for course design. It does not necessarily mean that each one of these people want to charge money for course design, but it's a good place to start. Any of these people have the ability to do it. Another place that you can go is into the GSPro Facebook groups. They may just direct you to Discord, but a lot of the designers are in there. And then if you want to narrow it down even further, you can go into Patreon. So there are, I believe at this time, there's 4 designers that do have Patreons, and those are going to be a good bet for people that are looking to design courses. They design courses for their Patreon members, but they're also going to design courses by commission for yourself. Easiest way to do that is to just go into Google and search GSPro Patreon, and you will find several of the top ones in there. So for example, TechBud, Pac-Man, The Golf Boy, and Run Pud Run. All of those guys are gonna be a good bet if you're looking for a course design for yourself. Now, if you're like, well, how do I know which one to choose? Another way that you can get a good start is by looking at your favorite courses inside of GSPro. If you go into GSPro and just look at the course list, you can see that the designer is listed there. And so that can kind of give you a feel for what their style is like and what they've done. And if you want to just look at everything, make sure to check show all courses for everything to show up. And you can actually search by designer. And so if I put in TechBud, you can see just all his lists and get a good feel for that. So whatever your favorite courses are in GSPro, look and see who designed them. See if they match up to anybody you've seen on Patreon or in a Discord channel, etc. But that might give you a good idea of the designers that are out there and who you like. So I reached out to two of my favorite designers. I sent them the name and address of the golf course that I wanted designed. From there, Pac-Man got back to me right away. So Pac-Man is one of those designers with a Patreon. He's got a ton of courses inside GSPro. He was able to discuss with me his 3-tier system for quoting a course. He offers a light build, a silver build, and a gold build. Obviously, the light build is gonna be the least amount of detail. A gold build is gonna be all the detail he can put into it and a lot more time and effort, and silver is gonna be somewhere in between there. So it's interesting because originally I thought that I for sure was gonna go with a light build. I didn't wanna spend any kind of crazy money on this. My home course is really nothing special, but after I discussed with Pac-Man, he actually said that 80% of the builds he does are gold builds. And so I was like, man, that kind of, I don't know about doing a light if, everybody's doing gold. And I kind of started to think about it. And I was like, if this is my home course, I'm probably gonna play this course in GSPro quite a bit. So if I'm gonna play this course more than others, I probably want it to be as good as it can be. So I opted for a gold build with Pac-Man. Now, I know you're gonna ask a lot about pricing, and I will go ahead and give you the prices that he quoted for my course, but you have to keep in mind, prices are gonna vary depending on the course, depending on his workload, and prices tend to go up over time. So if you're watching this way in the future, just don't expect to hold him to any of these prices. But to give you an idea, the light build was $1,200, the silver build was $1,900, and the gold build was $2,400. Now, Pac-Man did require a deposit of 50% up front, which I was able to give to him via PayPal. The other thing we discussed before getting started was the entire build process. He kind of does it in 3 builds. The first build is just for the layout of the golf courses to make sure the tee boxes are right, the hazards are correct, out of bounds lines are correct, and that the general terrain of the course is correct. The second build, he will take 2 to 3 holes and build them all the way to completion to make sure that the details are correct. And then from there, the third build, he will completely do the course and give me a chance for final revisions on the entire course at the end. So pretty straightforward process, doing a little bit at a time to make sure he's on the right track, and then the full build with an opportunity to make any changes at that point. Now, also when I was trying to decide between what level of build to get, Pac-Man was able to send me a bunch of examples of courses that he had done that were light builds, silver builds, gold builds. And that was really helpful because I was able to just go into GSPro, download that course, check that out. And really for a light build, the course is gonna play correctly. Any trees that are in play are gonna be accurate. Of course, the terrain and everything is gonna be accurate. The difference tends to be on the stuff outside of the actual golf course. So the houses, the fencing maybe the fencing would be correct, I don't know. But the surrounding areas, all of that. I think, for a light build, it's pretty much just gonna be the course is gonna be accurate and all the rest is probably gonna be filled in with trees. And then you go on up from there about the amount of detail you wanna be. So for example, with a gold build, he did do custom tee markers on the tee boxes, things like that. He included the driving range, which was really cool. Okay, so Pac-Man and I did an initial kind of overview of the project for YouTube. That video is up on my channel. Just search Pac-Man on my channel. We talked about his entire course design process, but also talked a little bit about my course, which we both just did for the benefit of YouTube. It's not something that he necessarily does. Pretty much everything is handled by email for him. But after that call, he was then able to pull the LiDAR data for my course and some satellite images and provided those to me. The LiDAR data, which I'm looking at right now, is kind of how they get the terrain of the golf course. That's so that every slope and hill and undulation on the green is pulled from this LiDAR data, and then they kind of map over on top of that. This LiDAR data you can see is of my course, the entire neighborhood and surrounding area, and it's kind of shaded so you can see the slopes. Really cool, I've never seen that before. And then he did provide me with 3 different satellite images from like Google and Bing and Apple Maps, and you can see that they are taken at different times a year, so there's different coloring there. And in my case, my course just the year before had redone all of the fairway bunkers and pretty much all the bunkers. They even removed some bunkers from the course. So we wanted to see if any of these satellite images were current enough to show that, and unfortunately they were not. Had one been accurate, that would have been the one that he had used, and then they kind of overlay the image on top of that LiDAR data. Okay, so once he was able to get started, he completed the initial build, and I was able to load it into GSPro and fly around. But essentially what it was is kind of a flat image, the satellite image flat and overlaid. So when you look around, there's nothing. There's no trees, houses, anything like that. But of course, we were just trying to make sure that the tee boxes are in the right place. The OB lines were correct, the hazards were marked correctly, all those things. In that email where he provided the initial build, he also provided a quick video on how to upload these courses into GSPro, so it's easy step by step. So he'll show you how to do that, and you can load them into your GSPro as he sends these different versions of the build going forward in the process. Now, also, he was kind of asking, okay, what are we gonna do about the bunkers that have been changed? And what kind of decision do you want to make on the colors of the course? Do you want the look to be kind of brown and dry? Do you want it to be lush and green, somewhere in between, etc.? And you can see here, he also provided the course fully splined in Inkscape. I don't know what that is, but you can see that he's got the course mapped out. The roads are in purple, the water is in blue, and you can see the fairways and how it's all laid out very easily. Then you can see that brings it into Blender, which is a 3D modeling software, and you can kind of see the same colorations, but in a 3D version. And here they use Unity, which is a game creation software, and married the satellite image with the 3D model that he had built. So you can see all this coloration here is the satellite image on top of it, but you can also see kind of the 3D effect of this fairway here. And then lastly, he brought it into Greenskeeper, which is a tool specifically for GSPro on how to set up each hole, where the tees are, what the par is. Right here, this image is what kind of that first build looked like that I could bring into GSPro. You can see it's kind of a flat image, and you could just fly around and kind of go from hole to hole. Just double check, is the tee box correct? This white line is the OB line, is that correct, etc. So as to the question of the missing bunkers and all that, they were all redone, but a bunch of them were taken out. So we decided that because we didn't have an accurate satellite image, there was no point in trying to recreate if any of the bunkers were kind of shaped differently now. So we were just gonna leave those as is, and any that were removed, I was able to take a screenshot and circle and just tell him to remove those. To me, the course is going to play the same. The bunkers are in the same location. They may be shaped slightly differently. As for the colors, I kind of described what I was looking for, and I was able to tell him another course that he had designed, which is Mira Vista, which I absolutely love the colors. They weren't super bright green. They had some browns in there as well. So to me, it looked very realistic, and I was able to give him that. Plus I took some pictures and sent them to him as well. These were, I believe, in February, so there was probably a little extra brown in there that I didn't necessarily want in the game. Now, Pac-Man got super busy kind of in this time period at the beginning of the year, and he didn't follow the exact process that I laid out in the beginning of the video. He did another build, but wasn't able to complete several of the holes yet, but he added surface textures, the peripheral trees he added, so not trees that are like in play, but ones that are, you know, off to the sides. 3D grass was added, and he put in all the structures. However, they weren't necessarily how they were going to be at finish. Took a look at that build, double checked the bunkers again that were removed. And then after that, he did complete the first 4 holes all the way, and I was able to fly around and take a look at those. And I actually gave him some feedback there. So looking at number 1, this is actually a screenshot that I sent to him. The tree that I circled there is actually much larger in real life, and it really protects from cutting the corner of this dogleg left. So I asked him to make that tree larger. Here we're at the tee box on number 2. There's actually at least 2 more trees like the one that's there. So I added the tree in here and told him, hey, there's another one there, just to kind of show him where that was. And then on number 3, this is a par 3, all those bushes that I circled there behind the green were actually removed when they redid all the bunkers. So I asked him to remove those bushes as well. Now, throughout this process, I was not really clear or sure how much things I could ask for or what exactly to be looked for. And Pac-Man was was super helpful, asking me for more feedback. And so after I gave him those adjustments, he asked, what about the T markers that I put the logo on? What about the driving range? Have you tried it out? He put custom flags on there and the houses and the fencing, all of that. How is that? And so these are details that I didn't really know to look for. Again, keep in mind, a lot of those details are for a gold build that wouldn't be there before. And since he mentioned the fencing, in these initial builds, he had all the fencing on both sides of the fairway for the houses. It was all wood fencing, and in real life, it's more of a wrought iron fencing. And so I asked him about that, sent him an image of kind of the fence style that it looks like. And he provided me with some images of fencing that he could do, which ended up being exactly what I wanted. Here's one with a 3D person next to it. Then he added the trees that I asked for here and the style right there on number 2 tee box. And then here is the tree on number 1 fairway on the left side, made it much bigger, and that's a lot more accurate to the size of that tree. From there, he was able to go ahead and finish the entire course and gave me a chance to take a look and see if there are any other adjustments needed on any of the other holes. I believe I asked for a couple trees to be larger, similar to number 1 on certain holes. And then he went ahead and added vegetation around all the ponds because it's hard to tell in the satellite image. It looks something like this, but in real life, all of that stuff is mowed all the way to the edge, and there's really not much vegetation there. So I asked him to remove all that vegetation except for on one hole, number 16, where I thought it'd be fine just to leave it in there. And that was pretty much it. At that point, I was completely happy with the course, all 18 holes. And then Pac-Man released it to his Patreon supporters. So if you are on Pac-Man's Patreon, you can play this course right now. It's called Weston Lakes Country Club. And he kind of discussed in that initial call that's up on our YouTube channel that when he designs these courses that kind of go and live on his Patreon for somewhere between like 9 and 12 months, and then he sends them into the main course server on GSPro, which is open up to everybody. That's kind of the process that he uses. Different designers may kind of follow a different process, but this is how it was for me. I will have to say that Pac-Man did a fantastic job. He responds very quickly via email, and not just quick answers either. I mean, he takes his time to explain everything that I needed explained, and it was a great experience having him design this course. Now, is it worth paying to have your home course designed? Unfortunately, I don't know if I can answer that yet. I have not been able to play this course as much as I anticipated. I've been super busy making content for this channel and with other business stuff outside of this. I just am not playing it as much as I had hoped. Every time that I'm gonna sit down and play on the simulator, it's either a round for the simulator golf tour or it's a round that I'm doing for this channel or just practicing. But I will say that it is amazing that whenever I do play this course, that all my misses end up in the same places as real life. It's really kind of fun that way, and it's not something that I expected. I should have expected it. It's like, of course it is. It's the same course, but it's like, man, I'm over here in the trees on the right side again, like I'm just over there yesterday in real life. It's kind of strange. I hope you found this video helpful, just kind of outlining the entire process of hiring a designer. And of course, you can learn all this stuff and do it yourself, but be prepared to spend lots and lots and lots of hours learning it and then doing it. So hiring one of these designers may be the way to go. As always, thanks for watching. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.